Hello everyone, this is Dr. Mike Bogle. Welcome to Orchestration video number 3. And I'd like to say right up at the top, rest in peace to my great mentor, Mr. Chick Corea, Armando Chick Corea, who passed away a couple days ago on February 9th, 2021. My greatest influence and mentor, and I know he's up there playing that great piano in the sky somewhere, and he will continue to be an influence on my music and many other people's music for the rest of my life. And if you haven't checked out his music, please do so. I think you'll really get a lot out of it. Okay, so we're going to go on with the video. I have a few setup issues to discuss with you. For one thing, you can see the programs I have open here. And this is a shortcut I use called Command Tab. I'm holding my thumb on the Command key, and I can tap on the Tab key to go between programs. I have, as you see, 6 programs open, including the desktop, which really doesn't count, the Finder, because it's always open. Finale is open, Logic Pro, Google Chrome, Camtasia, which is what I'm using to record this video, and Zoom. But the reason I have Logic Pro open is because we're primarily working in Finale here, okay? I'm going to continue work on America the Beautiful. But I like to have Logic Pro open in the background, at least with just a standard electric piano sound or whatever sound that you like, because that way I will always have a sound when I touch my keyboard. Now you notice this time it added the trumpet sound from our Finale project. But Finale has a funny way of not always playing the sound unless you click into a measure or something like that. So sometimes when you click out of it, see, it's not playing any sound. I'm only getting sound because I have Logic Pro opened. So that's a little tip for you there that I like to do, is always have Logic Pro, or it could be GarageBand or any kind of DAW that you like open in the background. And because sometimes you just want to try out chords and stuff, and you need sound. So that will solve that for you. All right, so we're going to continue on with America the Beautiful, and we're going to add some more instruments. I added another measure to the end here because I started thinking about it in my head. That's like we do in arranging. It's always about the linear aspect. What comes next? What comes next? Orchestration, I guess you could say, is kind of more about the vertical aspect. In other words, how we're going to make the chords stack up. I'm going to tie this chord to that chord by just making sure the cursor is not on a particular note. Then I hit the equal sign, and it ties all of the notes to the next chord. All right. I hit Command S to save. You should do that often. And we're ready. We're gonna need to add some more instruments. So I'm gonna go up here to the score manager, and let's add some instruments. How about a trumpet? Trumpet in B flat, of course, that's the most common. Another conversation later, but go with trumpet in B flat. How about perhaps could be another trumpet? Why not? Do another trumpet. And a trombone. And maybe a tenor sax. That'll be under woodwinds. And a baritone sax. Okay, so now we have what for the horns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horns. We can change those around later. We're not stuck with them. Of course, our main one here is called voice. We could change the name of this to like lead sheet, maybe. But we're moving away from our lead sheet and into our orchestration. But right now the lead sheet is sort of contained inside of our orchestration as we build it. We're also going to want a rhythm section, so I'm going to add guitar. Let's see, under plucked strings I want an electric guitar, and I want a piano. It's under keyboards. It could be electric piano or piano. I'm going to use electric piano. And bass. Also under plucked strings, electric bass or bass guitar, same thing, essentially. And drums. So that'll be under drums. We want a drum set. If we can find it here. Where's our drum set? It's like under jazz. Drums, drum set. Okay. There we go. And we have somewhat of a score order here. That's why it's real easy to reorder these in this window. But I sort of purposefully put them in this order. I like for the rhythm section to be guitar, piano, bass, and drums, because the guitar can kind of function more as one of these other instruments, kind of like a horn. And then from high to low, this top line is just our lead sheet. Really, it's not really part of the orchestration, but it's up there for now, you'll see, so we can copy and paste some things. But we have basically from high to low. We got the trumpets, the trombone, the tenor sax. Trombone and tenor sax, I guess you could say, are maybe roughly the same range. And then baritone sax, lower. And we got some different transpositions in there too that we can talk about later. Clearly the trumpet in B flat is in B flat. You'll see it has a different key signature already. You see that here, 2 sharps, because it's in the key of D. You have to write it up a step so it will sound down a step. We want it to sound in C, so we have to write it in D. How crazy is that? Okay, and baritone, even crazier, we have to write it up a sixth. So it has to be written, in A, and also, it's an octave lower, so it's the craziest one of all. Basically, add 3 sharps for the baritone sax. Guitar and bass guitar are actually transposing instruments as well. They both are written an octave higher than they sound. And a lot of people don't know that. Even bass players and guitar players don't know that. Sometimes. The good ones do, of course. Okay, so there we have it. Close that up. We're ready to start writing. We're in page view right now. I can hit Command E and turn this into scroll view, which will be better. You see these chords are really getting jumbled up here, even in scroll view. Not really a simple way to fix that right now. That's Command 1, Command 2 to stretch it back out. But the cool thing about Finale is it does the transposition stuff for you. Now, you will want to display in concert pitch quite a bit when you're putting notes in. For now, let's just go ahead and copy everything, Command C, on the lead sheet, and let's put it down here in our first trumpet, Command V. But let's go up here and use the edit to clear selected items. We don't need those chords for the trumpet. And the rule of thumb is don't give any instruments any information that they really don't need. If they do need it, that's fine, but many times they don't need it. Now let's copy this, and let's put that down here in the electric guitar too. We'll have them play the melody as well. The piano, let's copy and paste only the chords. And I'm going to change the filter here to do, and that's Command Option Shift F, nothing but chords. As I paste it, now we've got the chords all jumbled up, but we'll fix that a little bit later as best we can. I don't know if I really need 2 staffs for the piano, so I think I'm going to just get rid of one of them if I can. Command delete. We got a lot of instruments here. I don't necessarily need a big bass notes on the piano and all that going on. Bass guitar, we might want him to have those chords as well. So I will now just copy what we already have for the piano and redo it for the bass. Drum set, we don't know yet. I'm thinking about starting out with a basic bossa nova kind of groove. Who knows where this is going? We're just going to take it where it goes. I think that's a lot of arranging and orchestrating, is just write what you know you can do right now and see where it takes you. So for drum set, okay, I'm just going to put in a basic bossa nova groove, starting with a ride cymbal, and you can find all these different things here. And I'm going to say, for just a minute, I'm not going to use MIDI device for input. For the drums, this works pretty well. And I'm going to hit the 4. Nice little 8th notes there. And then go down to the bass drum, and I'm going to double click to add some bass drum notes, if I can find that lowest space. Alright, and then let's try for a snare drum, maybe like a cross stick, snare drum cross stick. Okay. And just to get a groove going, you know, we could probably paste this up. I tried to paste it just then, but it didn't work because I had my filter set for just chords. So we'll go back to all and try pasting it again. Yeah, this time it worked. And I can also hit Command Control, oops, hit the wrong one, hit Option, Command Control V, and say, let's to hit it like 16 times, I forget how many. We'll set 14, saying that maybe this is about a 16 bar piece. Now we're going to cover most of this up. I want to change this to slash notation for the drums for right now. We'll get more into that later. But I just hit S, change that to slash, cleans it up, and you know, we could write something here. Give him some instructions like bossa nova. I'm going to create a technique text. Call it bossa. And assign it, and then just say continue. So they know, just keep jamming on that bossa beat for right now. So that way, even though we have these slashes, we'll also hear the bossa note rhythm underneath. So let's hear what it sounds like so far. Okay, I'm wondering, hey, what would the guitar sound like up an octave? As we know, it sounds an octave lower than written anyway. I'm going to hit the 9 key, bump it up. We'll see what it sounds like. Now, also, don't forget, we are viewing in concert pitch. So when I change this to not concert pitch, okay, it still keeps the guitar the same. So, all right, it doesn't change the octave. Fine. Finale's always changing how it does things, but that's okay. So now we have a few things going on. We need desperately a bass line now. There's a few ways to do this, but and these chords being so close together that like this is not going to help me very much. I'm going to go back into page view, Command E, and let's do something here where we'll do select all. I'm going to put like 3, Command Shift M, remember that one? Lock the layout with 3 measures to system. Okay, so that's, you know, maybe a little easier to read. You can see some of this stuff is falling off the page here. We'll deal with this layout later and make it fit. Change this percentage here on the first page maybe to, you know, like 90%, page 1 through 1. There we go, got it on there. So now, because I'm going to try to just play in this bass guitar using something called Hyperscribe tool. Okay, this is if you have some kind of chops to play the keyboard, you may be able to save some time by playing stuff in real time. You have to set up your beat source, playback and or click, record mode, 1 staff, Hyperscribe options. You got some different options there. The quantize setting, this is very important. I only want to go for 1/8 notes right now because we're not going to do anything too crazy on the bass right now. Just give a simple bass part so we can kind of hear the harmony that's being created and the counterpoint between the bass and the melody. All right, so I hit the Hyperscribe tool. I'm just going to click on this. There's one thing I need to check. Beat source, playback and or click and count off. 2 measures count off. Okay, we need to know that. Hopefully we'll be able to hear it and all will be well with the default. Okay, so I did a couple of things here to facilitate the recording of the bass part. One is to improve the spacing of these chords. I did 2 things. First of all, I changed a lot of these DMI7s to just be D-7. And the first time you do it, Finale will give you a little error saying, hey, do you really want to add that to the library? And you just say yes. And so now I did that. I also loaded my own chord library. And the reason I did that is so that I could also use triangles, and that's called load library. And then I go and find my chord library, which I call Bogle 25, whatever, and I loaded this in. I'm going to cancel this for now because I already did it. But for instance, for this C major 7, I can change that to just a triangle. And the way you do that is put C:0 return. And that brings up your thing here, and I've made a little notes here. They get huge, these libraries, especially when you add in more. So I'm looking for number 498, which is down here somewhere. 498, there's my little triangle. So I can select that, and it changes it. I don't know why it didn't seem to change it. I thought it was this one. Let's try again. You can also just hit C:498 and hit return, and it makes it into a triangle. Easier than that, though, now that I've actually fixed, you know, all of this one pretty much, I can just copy it and paste it into this one. The other thing I did was I created this conga drum part down here just for spacing. I wanted more space so these chords wouldn't be smashing into each other like they were before. So I just put a bunch of 16th note rests into the conga drum part. We can do something with that later if we actually want a conga drum part, or we can just hide it or delete it or whatever. But for now, It's just there for spacing, really. So it spread everything out, because once you have these 16th notes underneath everything, it just creates all this space. So doesn't that look much nicer? Yes. All right, so I'm going to record this bass part. I also added a bass up here to my Logic file so that when I'm playing, I can kind of be reminded. Because for instance, you know, the lowest note on a standard bass guitar is E. And you know, you're tempted to play this, but that doesn't exist. The C and C sharp, D doesn't exist on a lot of standard bass guitars, so I'm going to avoid that. And I'm going to try to just play this in with the settings that we've already discussed. 2-bar count off, and here we go. All right, and you have to click the mouse to stop recording when you're doing the Hyperscribe. Now they look kind of high, see they're conflicting, but remember we're in concert pitch, displaying in concert pitch. When I uncheck that, well, yeah, the octave doesn't change. So we may need to raise those chords up. The way we do that is chord tool, click on this first thing here and get this second one from the right. And let's just raise all these bass chords up. Doesn't affect the other chords in the arrangement, but just for the bass, because we don't want them to conflict. Also, strange that they are up there like that. I guess because we were playing them in concert pitch. So I probably want to actually lower all these down an octave. And it didn't get my first note in, because I probably played it a little too quick. Hit the 8 to transpose these down. Okay, this is not in concert pitch. This is in concert pitch. Okay. And I'm going to, some instruments you need to play them in concert pitch. Yeah, just double clicked on that rest to change it to a note. And some of them you need to play in not in concert pitch. And you can see I made a number of mistakes. Command delete, which we just use our little editing thing. There's a D sharp. You want to change it into an E flat. That's the 9. This one has a tie. It's not supposed to be there. Hit equals to undo the tie. This one has a double note. Command delete, just that note. And let's see. Let me clean up everything else that I messed up here. This is one thing that's kind of hard to do on finale, is just get it to go ahead by a measure or so. There's another inharmonic note. 9, A flats, 9, 9, and that's supposed to be a D flat. So lots of inharmonics here. This is actually supposed to be an A, so I'm going to actually hit the plus sign just to raise it. Ooh, not that far. I meant the minus sign to raise it, lower it down a pitch. This one's the correct note, but inharmonically wrong. This one has 2 notes, neither one are the right pitch. I'm going to raise this up with the plus sign. And this one needs to just be dragged down. And this is supposed to be F sharp. So I'm going to drag it down to F and then plus sign it up. This one is supposed to be F natural. Inharmonic again. Inharmonic. 9, inharmonic. Command delete, enharmonic, and I think it's easier to tap down here. If I tap down here, I can kind of go ahead by one frame. And this is enharmonic, 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 and okay. Now we can basically paste in this entire bass line down to the last part here, and hopefully just copy it into the new key and see if it will let us get away with that. Let's try it. Paste it in here, and boom, it transposed it for us, you see, into this new key signature. Hopefully may find a few enharmonic problems, etc. Let's go to the end. We've got some double flats and stuff. We're not going to need those, so we'll change those with our 9 key again. We don't really need E double flat, I don't think. Some of you who are really particular about music theory, you may want to argue with me on some of this, and that's okay. Let's see. Now I just need to add this last part here. We'll go ahead and just play this in too. Okay, what are we in? Concert pitch or not in concert pitch? Let's be not in concert pitch. See how that works. Oops. Okay, and I accidentally almost added an extra bar there. I'm just going to get rid of that. Double click to get that whole stack, hit delete, and also I didn't want this to be tied. So one thing about the computer, it kind of does exactly what you do, even though you didn't really want it to do that. Put a fermata on this last note. Still down the F with the articulation tool. And okay, so now we have some counterpoint there. We have a bass line. We may have still a few things that need editing. So think about music notation. There's always more editing to do. Okay, and our drums stopped there too. How strange. We'll fix that. Also, I noticed we need a courtesy accidental right here. You see this D flat, but then the bar line cancels out the flat, but we want a D natural written in there. So I'm going to hit P. That gives us a parentheses, which means it's a courtesy accidental. So it lets you know that, hey, this is a different note that's been canceled out by the bar line. So that's just good manners. All right, we're going to stop there. We've got a good amount of little stuff here. I can just go ahead and copy this drum part again. Command C and Command Control V, and just say to the end of the piece. We're not going to want it all the way to the end of the piece, but we will for now. All right, so now we're getting there. We've added some instruments. Now we're going to work on a different groove maybe for the second section, maybe like a swing, and that will be in the next video, as well as adding stuff for these other instruments to do. So harmonizing these different instruments. Okay, we'll see you in the next video.